This movie might have just been an entire ploy to validate the Penguin's decision to use an umbrella as a weapon, because that thing is flippin' cool. Lazy Dude 99. Lazy Dude time, if we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. Talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the Hey everybody, I'm Lazy Dude 99. Welcome to another movie review. Today we are looking at the movie Kingsman: The Secret Service. So Kingsman, starring Taron Egerton, Samuel L. Jackson, Colin Firth, and it has a couple of other memorable actors in there because we got Michael Caine, Mark Hamill, Mark Strong. We got a ton of people in this movie. So the basic story of this movie is you have this guy by the name of Eggsy. I believe it's Eggsy, yeah. And basically what he is he is just a teenager whose father used to be this special agent type of character. You know, he was part of the secret organization called the Kingsman, a secret organization that's not affiliated with any government agent and is not even known by the secret agents of the world. They're that secret. So basically, at a young age, they get these highly skilled young people and put them into this training thing if one of their Kingsmen dies. They're all named after members of the Round Table. One of them has passed away, therefore a new one needs to be trained. And Eggsy is one of the many teenagers that is chosen for this program, and a lot of it about him training through the Kingsmen, while also a threat by the name of Valentine. It's kind of ironic this came out around Valentine's Day too. Anyway, Valentine, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, who is developing a super weapon that will become a threat to the world. This movie is directed by Matthew Vaugns. Matthew Vaugns and I, we've kind of been like on and off depending on the movies. I love his movies like Kick-Arse and No, I Will Not Swear. And then I'm not crazy about some of his other movies like X-Men First Class. I will say this, he has a very distinct directing style and he is a very good director. Even if I'm not a big fan of X-Men First Class, there is still good directing there. The actors act well for the most part. And for something like this, he's a good pick. So let me just talk first and foremost about the style of this movie and about the actors, the characters. The way they build up this whole Kingsman society is really interesting. You know, we got all this, themed around King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, because if you are a Kingsman, you take one of the names of the Round Table as your name. And we got this a whole bunch of interesting things. But the thing that Matthew Vaugns does well, and I'll say this, that he does it in a lot of his films, is he takes things to certain extremes that other people won't. You know, he takes the certain levels that people would go. Normally people will go to this level. He's gone to this level, and he has no shame in doing so, and he does so that is actually kind of awesome in a lot of ways. But it also makes his movie stand out from being different. There's a lot of stuff, like, let me just say, the big master plan in this movie is really diabolical and really sinister, and there's a lot of scenes that are like, oh, kind of gut-wrenching, where you're like, I can't believe they're doing this. But for the characters to stand out, I would have to say that Colin Firth, who is the guy who is part of, who chose Eggsy to be on the Kingsman, who chose him to be part of the triads, I would say he probably had the stealing performance that takes it, because he has this character that has such class, such debonair, but can really kick a whole lot of butt when he needs to. And there's something really charming about his character and really likable, and I just think he kind of stole the show every scene he was in. And unfortunately, he kind of is like the only well-rounded character out of all of them. I'll get to the others in a sec. But, the way that Colin Firth presents himself, we can see what type of man he is, why is he doing these things, and, we don't have to really question it, because I got this is the type of character he is, this type of person that is, he's selfless, but he's tough, and he's a gentleman, but he will do the right thing, even if it involves violence, and he will not shy away from it, and even if it involves making some really tough decisions and hurting people, he will do it without flinching, because he believes it's the right thing. I get that philosophy from him, but I wish that we could have got that from, okay, I think our main character is a little bit underdeveloped. There are sometimes when we get characters who we know who they are and we know what they can do, but we never really get an idea of who they are as a person. And that's what I get with Eggy, because he's this type of character that he's very skillful, he's very, smart on his feet and can think through situations, and, that's all done. Let me just say before I continue that I'm not criticizing the acting of this actor, because he actually does a really good job. I hear a rumor that he might be playing Cyclops, it's just a rumor, it's not confirmed or anything, that he might be the guy playing Cyclops in the new X-Men Apocalypse, and if that happened, I would say that's great casting. This guy is a great actor, and I have nothing against him as his acting. I just think the character could have been written more so we get to see who he is as a character on the inside. He reminds me of a less well-written Captain Kirk in the Star Trek reboot by J.J. Abrams. We see he's reckless, but he's talented, and that he also has a lot of cockiness to his character, but I don't really have any moments that humanize him. When he volunteers for the Kingsman, I don't really get to see why he would do that. I don't get to see if he's the type of character that would do that. And it's not that it's totally unbelievable that he's not the type of character, but I don't know why he's doing it. He's doing it, and I would like to say that he's doing it to, either he has nowhere else to go, or he thinks that is what his father would want, but I don't really know why he's actually doing it. He seems to just go and do it because that's what's expected of him. Like I said, he's not the worst character ever written. It's just, I would like a little bit more development to see the more human side of him, because we see him be able to be trained and to be smart and whatnot, but, that doesn't make him a character. It just makes him a tool that he can use to do cool things, because we can believe this character would be able to do the amazing things that he does. That's great, but if you can give you that slight human edge to the person, that makes him more relatable. Something like, as I brought up, he reminded me a little bit of Captain Kirk from the Star Trek movie, but as I said, not as well, because, Chris Pine in that Star Trek movie gave him more relatable as a human being, and that's just my 2 bits on him as a main character. Not a bad one, but I really would have liked him to be more developed. Same with a couple of the other characters, not really developed that much. We got I wouldn't say she's a love interest, because they never actually, do love interest stuff. But, there's a girl character in the film. The only thing we really know about her is that she's very skilled, and she's afraid of heights. And that's all we really know. Her character arc really begins and ends there. Nothing much to her. But not necessarily need to give a character arc to every character, but I would like to know more about her. The same with Mark Strong plays the tech guy called Merlin, and he's really cool and does a few cool stuff, and, he's a nice character and all, but I would like to know more, and I think these actors are all good enough that they could portray more, but I think the script is kind of lacking that human element for a lot of these characters. I do, though, will say I really, really, really like the villain. We got Samuel L. Jackson playing this guy called Valentine, and instead of him being like this merciless, I'm gonna kill you and your family, he's don't get me wrong, the character is a complete monster and will go to humongous extremes to do just to meet his ends, but he's also so the opposite of what you would expect for a villain. It's really refreshing, because he's this type of character that he can't actually stand the sight of blood. He's not a violent person. If he sees blood, he'll start throwing up, because he's really weak and he's really feeble, and it just goes to Samuel L. Jackson to be able to do, because you can buy, it's so amazing how Samuel L. Jackson just can go into these different roles, how I can buy that he's Nick Fury in one film, kicking so much butt that nobody would ever dare want to cross him, and then now he's playing Valentine in this film that looks like an asthmatic could knock him over. But that's balanced out by his assistant, who is a woman with no legs that she replaced with knives. or leg spears, or whatever you want to call them. Basically, her legs are spears, and she kind of plays like the type of character that you see in these Bond films, where they're just the henchmen of the villain, very skilled, usually, if the villain is not the most powerful bad guy, they have a henchman who's the more powerful and more skilled. And that's really the main boss. Like Stryker in X2. He's not a formidable physical foe, but he had Lady Deathstrike on his side who was. Or, let's say, or let's go to the spy movies that these movies are comparing themselves to. James Bond, we have Goldfinger, but he's not really like... Goldfinger's a little bit more tougher than, let's say, Valentine. But you also have Oddjob, who is the real menace and the real threat in a fight, that type of character. In any case, Samuel L. Jackson's character is a little pathetic, but it is balanced out by his devious and diabolical, monstrous nature and his plan that I will not spoil, because it is really... Holy shoot, like, those are... when the parts of the movie where the plan is going to place, you were just like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. It does feel a little bit comic booky, though. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. The type of plan, it feels a little bit comic booky, and that's not an insult to it. I actually think that's kind of funny. For other good stuff about it, the action is very well done. It reminds me a lot of Kick-Arse in the way it's quick-paced and whatnot, and there are some couple of scenes that really give me a laugh and are intense as well. So, the fighting is good, the choreography is good, the characters are okay, they could have been delved on a little bit more. This movie does, though, bother me with some things. Like, it has a couple of moments where they almost basically break the fourth wall. There's a part where Valentine and Colin Firth's character, Galahad, are just talking, and he's like, you know those Bond movies? You know, I always loved it when the villains and the blah, blah, blah. And they're basically comparing the movie that we're watching right now to the Bond movies. And there's actually a part where he says, yeah, but this ain't that kind of movie. And it's almost like a wink-wink to the audience. It's like, yeah, those are a little silly. We're taking it seriously. This ain't that type of movie. Well, okay, but it's not like you're the first one to make a spy movie that's not exactly like a James Bond flick. However, it actually does have a little bit of that classic James Bond feel with the gadgets and the debonair and the stylish. But it also does it's like that classic James Bond feel, but to the extreme, you know, to when the villain's plans, how cheesy they might be, actually come to fruition and they're absolutely horrible and terrifying. You know, when stuff like that goes down, hey, you know, it is very interesting to see, and I love the way the villain uses it too. It's very telling of our generation. You'll see when he announces part of his plan, and I'm thinking everybody on this planet would gobble that up in an instant, and there's no way anyone would not get this. You'll see when you see it. But if you see it. Would I recommend this movie? I definitely think so. Although I want to say something, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but I just want to say something that should be self-explanatory. Don't take your kids to this. Because I was sitting in a movie theater that had like 6, 7-year-old kids right like a few rows that way. Little kids. This is a violent, gory, dark, twisted film. Do not take your kids to this. This is not age appropriate for them. Okay? Even if you're in town like me that has one movie, rent Frozen. See the Lego movie again. I don't care. Just don't see this movie with your kids. My gosh. I want to turn around and say, why haven't you left the theater yet? We got a guy who got literally sliced in half by a woman with a knife leg. I would not want my kids to see that. I don't think you should either. But that's another topic for another day. In the end, I would say Kingsman is like a combination of the training parts from Ender's Game, and we also mashed with the serious tone from First Class and Kick-Arse, but also with the style of James Bond throughout. It's a lot of different feels for the movie, and it makes its own distinct feel, don't get me wrong. This is not something when I see it, I'm like, it's very much like this, or it's very much like that. It might have a similar story to other things of a secret agent society, but this isn't like Agent Cody Banks, okay? No. In any case, I will say that Kingsman is a very fun, very adventurous film. Could there have been a little bit more depth on the main character? Yes, I think there could have been, and on some of the side characters as well. But in the end, I will say that I enjoyed myself watching this film. I think this is going for the B action genre. You know, this is a spy agent thriller movie with, you know, what you're going to get. Heroic heroes doing cool and suave things. You're going to get that. You're going to see lots of action with cool, choreographed, well-done fight scenes. You're going to get that. And you're going to get a lot of humorous but serious moments through it. And I think that that's the type of movie it's trying to be. That's the type of movie it is, and I enjoyed myself. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, I'm LazyDude99. If I don't like it, it's not worth it. And I'm giving Kingsman, the Secret Service, a 6.5 out of 10. Pretty good movie. I would say this is a pretty good movie. The thing is, when it comes out on DVD, am I going to get it? Maybe, probably. It depends on how I feel. It's not something I'm going to be like, oh, I can't wait for Kingsman to come out, but it might be one of those movies I'm like, hey, Kingsman's out, oh, I'm going to get it. You know, it's one of those movies where it's pretty good at what it does, and it leaves a memorable and distinct feel, but, you know, it's one of those movies I can take it or leave it. I'd rather take it, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's not, if I didn't see this movie ever again, I wouldn't be that disappointed. I'd be like, oh, that's too bad, oh well. On the other hand, I would like to see this movie again. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99. If I don't like it, it's not worth it. Adios, amigos. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.